thought you might like that one. Hey guys, Dre here with another video for you, and welcome back to Dre Vlogs. And this is another video I wanted to get out there, catching up on and keeping up with the silly season vibe, you could say. That's been going on in the channel lately. I wanted to go from 4 wheels to 2 wheels this time around and talk a little bit about MotoGP and their city season. We've not spoken about it since I think January, the last video we made talking about their couple of most recent re-signings, when Yamaha announced that they were basically keeping Maverick Vinales, and a day later announcing that they'd signed Fabio Quartararo to join the factory team a year later. A year later? A day later. That's one for the blooper reel. But yeah, a fair amount has changed in the landscape of silly season since. Obviously, negotiations are not going to be quite so hot right now in the midst of a global pandemic. Normally by now in MotoGP about half the grid would be confirmed. You've had a few confirmations since the last video, but it's all gone a little bit slower because we're not racing right now. No one's really sitting down and doing contract talks and negotiations. Everyone's just kind of playing it by ear, seeing what happens, seeing when we get racing again, and obviously what to do with their staff, because a lot of teams are struggling for money as well, which is a big problem as part of this pandemic. But we'll have to wait and see how we go. Anyway, if you like the cut of this jib and like the tone of this video, leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when videos are coming up soon. But here's what has changed, a quick catch-up of what's happened in the downtime since this last video went out. The big one, Marc Marquez has announced that he is going to be a part of the Repsol Honda team for the next 4 seasons. This is a massive deal. MotoGP contracts are normally only 2 years long. It's to give riders leverage to test the open market. It's to renegotiate contracts. There is a lot going on in MotoGP. It's a very fast-moving sport. Most deals are normally 2 years with a 1-year break option in the middle of it, just in case. So for Marc Marquez to declare his commitment to Repsol Honda for 4 years is crazy. And it's a no-brainer. He's the best rider in the world. The team are 150% behind him. They've just signed his brother to join him next year to form the all-Marquez dream team, at least for 1 season in the meantime. Honda will give him every tool possible to help him succeed, to the point where it's arguably been a detriment to the other riders in their camp, like Dani Pedrosa, Cal Crutchlow and Taka Nakagami, who all ride either factory or satellite Hondas in the field. So it is all in on Marc Marquez at Repsol Honda. Rumour has it the money is also obscene. It's over £25 million a year. Apparently it is the first £100 million contract in the history of MotoGP. That's according to Simon Patterson over at the race. He was the first guy to put it out there back in February. Sorry, not February. It was back in March, I should say. Sorry, it was back in March that it was maybe the biggest contract in the history of the sport, but just because of the way GP deals are structured and the amount of money. To put that into perspective, I believe that's about twice as much as what Jorge Lorenzo got when he went from Yamaha to Ducati in 2017. So to put it into perspective, this is a mega money deal. This isn't just Marquez now being the leader of the factory team. He's now one of the faces of Honda as a brand, period. Especially in places like America and Southeast Asia, where they're trying to tap into that market more as bike fans in general, particularly in Southeast Asia, given the success in Thailand of their Grand Prix that they've added in recent times. Suzuki have also announced that they are going to retain their rider lineup for the next 2 years. Alex Rins and Johan Mir will stay on as Suzuki riders going forward until 2022. Again, complete no-brainer. Davide Brivio, who runs the team, said it was a no-brainer. And why wouldn't it be? Alex Rins was like arguably the 3rd or 4th best rider in the field right now. He's one of the few guys that can take the fight to anybody in the field. He's got tremendous race pace. He's a fantastic rider. He's got a couple of problems. He's not the best qualifier, and sometimes he makes silly mistakes and has crashes that are a little bit on the reckless side. but his race pace, his overall bike management, he's excellent on a Suzuki. He's won multiple top flight races already. He could be one of the main contenders for Marquez going forward in the next few years. So again, no-brainer. You tie down Alex Rins. He's again top 4 quality in the field, no doubt about that. And Johan Mir, again, no-brainer. Mir again was only a rookie last season, had a big crash at Brno's test, but towards the end of that season his results got better, was in the top 6 on multiple occasions. He's only going to get better as the seasons go by and the experience racks up. If you ask anyone in a MotoGP paddock what they think of Johan Mir, they will tell you that everyone in the paddock was fighting for his signature when he won the Moto3 title. Everyone that knows bike riding knows that Mir is going to be a weapon going forward. So for Suzuki to retain both of them for the next 2 years, it might be the best all-round quality riding team in the field, besides maybe Yamaha's factory team of Vinales and Quartararo next year. In terms of just consistent team quality, Mir and Rins might be number 2 on that list. It's a very, very strong lineup indeed. Now, that's the state of play. We have 5 confirmed seats for 2021, basically. So that's Marquez, both Yamahas, and both Suzukis. A lot of this silly season talk is now going to centre around Ducati. Ducati are the interesting case. There's a very real possibility they might clear the decks. Dovi has been the name that's been circling around and navigating regarding silly season. There's big rumours. There were big rumours about him going to KTM in 2021, which would be a massive coup for KTM. Who, look, say what you will about Dovi, he's the second best rider in the field. He's been a MotoGP Championship runner-up 3 years running now. One of the best riders in the world. Scored 280 points last season, which is a very, very high number indeed. The only problem with that was that Marquez had a record-breaking season in 2019 and had arguably the best MotoGP season we've ever come across. So, despite all that, Dovi is still a quality rider. I know he's getting a little bit up there in age. I know he's 34 years old now, but he is still absolutely world-class. He would certainly be an upgrade on Brad Binder, but that rumour's kind of been quashed by KTM because Pit Bearer, who runs their team, has said they are looking to retain all 4 of their current riders in their 2 teams. That's Pol Espargaro, that's Brad Binder in the factory team, and that's Miguel Oliveira and Ike Lecuona in the Tech 3 satellite team as well. KTM's got 3 excellent riders in there. Lecuona, the jury's still out, given that he was a very late call-up to MotoGP, given the Johan Zarco contract situation and the dispute where that was concerned. But Binder, Espargaro, and Oliveira are absolute quality riders, and I can totally see why they wouldn't want to go out of their way to keep all 3 of those dudes, even if Dovi is as good as he is. Pol Espargaro is maybe the best bad bike rider in the field. The Espargaro brothers are very, very good at that. But there's a lot of rumblings that Dovi has fallen out in that camp. In the the relationship with Luigi Dall'Igna and others has been strained. Michele Pirro, their test rider, did not help when he basically accused, or not accused, but he seemed to say on the record that Dovi seems to have lost confidence, and the general feeling is that he can't beat Marquez anymore, which is a crushing indictment when he seemed to be at one point the only man who could beat Marquez in a head-to-head dogfight. He's been very, very good at that over the years, Dovizioso. He's an intelligent, great tyre management, all-round brilliant bike rider. Maybe not the best qualifier, but on race day, brilliant. The sort of guy you'd want in your team, without a doubt. But it looks like his time at Ducati might have come to an end. I mean, he's been there 7 years. He's done incredible things for that factory. It may just be a simple matter of the fact that he's taken that team as far as he can take them, And maybe it's just the natural next step for him just to find another place elsewhere. Maybe he's a satellite runner, because the factory seats are getting taken and coughed up real fast. That could be the problem for him going forward. And it's not just him as well. It's also his teammate Danilo Petrucci, who's also under pressure. there was a report from GP1 earlier this week that suggested that Petronas might be reassigned to Ducati's World Superbike team to form a dream partnership over there with Scott Redding, who joined them this year. And obviously moving on from Chaz Davis, another Ducati veteran that's been in their World Superbike outfit for a long time. It would be an interesting partnership. Petronas and Redding have had a bit of history. They weren't exactly best friends when they were together at Pramac in MotoGP a couple of years ago, both fighting for top-tier machinery, and there was only one to go round. Petronas won that fight. Redding eventually faded out of GP, won the British Superbike title last year, and is now in Worlds with Ducati's factory team, trying to take the fight to Jonathan Rea over there. But Petronas has had rumblings about his future from as early as like late last year. Ducati's press officer passed away in the middle of last season, and I think he was very close to Danilo, and I think it hit Danilo quite hard, and his results tailed off towards the end of the season quite badly. He was not even able to really be a good enough rear gunner to back Dovi up. The whole strategy of Ducati was get two bikes up the front, try and take as many points off Marquez as possible. This only really worked once throughout the entirety of last season, and it was Misano, the one race that Petrucci won last season. It was his first ever win in the top flight, and to this day his only win in the top flight. But he said on the record he will publicly back up Dovi to help Dovi win a championship. But Petronas is not good enough to justify that right now. And the rumblings about him and Jack Miller are just never going to go away, because Miller is always been hanging around that Ducati seat, waiting for the opportunity to ride for the factory team. Miller's gotten better and better as the years have gone by. He's now a top-tier rider in the class. He was on the podium 5 times last season. He's not a million miles off what Ducati probably want him to be, which is a semi-consistent race winner. You know, you want him to be able to say, hey, Miller can maybe win more than one race a year. That's probably what they want a rear gunner to be. But Petronas is not that. And if Dovi at the front isn't performing how they want him to perform, maybe it's a whiff of the same old arrogance that their siblings at Ferrari have had as well over the last few years. Over there. Where it's just like, we'll build the best bike possible, doesn't matter who our riders are. I hope that's not the case, but they have a decent team still at the moment. Maybe Jack Miller would be an improvement over that, and they need more from Francisco Bagnaia in the Pramac camp as well, the former Moto2 world champion. But it's a sticky situation at Ducati, and maybe their thinking is nuke the team and start over. Which, if they did that, their team would almost certainly be worse for it, because a lot of the top tier names have already gone. They've already tried approaching Maverick Vinales, and they failed to get him. They tried approaching Alex Rins and Johan Mir to join their team for 2021, and they failed in all 3 of those attempts. So all the top tier big names are probably off the table. The biggest one left is probably Frankie Morbidelli at the SRT Petronas team, which we'll get to very briefly. But it's looking like Frankie will most likely stay there as well. I don't think Frankie wants the chaos of being on a 3rd different manufacturer in the top flight in just 4 seasons. Speaking of which, there is a big rumbling around Valentino Rossi. Well, of course it is. It's Valentino. That would hardly be a shock. But there's only really one place for Rossi to go, given he's now no longer going to be with the factory team, and that is the SRT Petronas camp. The satellite runners for Yamaha. We talked about this in the last video. It's looking like all signs point to that direction with Valentino. He more or less said last week in an interview with Matt Burt on Instagram that he doesn't want to retire off the back of a quarantine-shortened season. So it looks like we're going to get at least one more year of Valentino Rossi. He'll be returning to the grid as a 42-year-old in February. All signs point to SRT. However, it's not going to be as simple as that. And again, shout out to Simon Patterson. He did an excellent piece with Razlan Razali, the head of the SRT Petronas team. He actually left his role as head of the Sepang international circuit to focus on SRT full time this year. And he said straight up, one, they're still building the team around Frankie Morbidelli as far as they're concerned. They know Quartararo will be going at the end of the year. They want to sign his replacement by the end of August. That's their target. But they still have made it quite clear, we're building around Frankie. Their philosophy has always been build around younger talent, and that is what they're planning to do, and that is not going to change, even if signing Rossi is on the table, which is going to be even more amazing. My brother's having a friggin' moment playing MLB The Show next door. But no, they made it quite clear that if we were having a normal season, they probably wouldn't be going after Valentino Rossi. They'd probably be looking at Moto2 and some of the rookies in there. Because it's a shortened season, Rossi becomes a more attractive option in their eyes. And he's made it quite clear. There's been no negotiation between himself and anyone from Valentino's camp. Rossi's not approached him over a seat, and SRT haven't done the same. They know it's going to happen eventually. It has to happen, but it just hasn't happened yet. There's some interesting quotes in this piece as well. He told the Redacted, saying, set up, he may be a one-off wonder for the team or not, but we believe that developing young riders is the way forward for the team in the championship. If this had been a normal championship, then it would have all depended on how Rossi performed in the first half of the season and how the Moto2 riders we've also been eyeing had performed. But now we'd have started talking to some of them, because after 8 races, we know how the riders are performing. But it's been an unusual year, and to take a rookie into MotoGP without seeing them race is a huge risk. We can't take that risk. It's difficult to consider a rookie for next year. If we don't take a rookie, then the proposition of taking Valentino becomes very attractive. He knows the bike, he's very much experienced, there's a lot of positives that come with that. The only problem is his age, because he's 41 years old. Another setback in this is his crew. Valentino Rossi inherited a lot of Mick Doohan's crew when he retired from MotoGP in 1999, and they replaced him with Valentino Rossi when he won the 250cc title that year. He took a lot of Doohan's crew, and when he went to Yamaha in 2004, he was able to take a lot of his crew with him from Honda to Yamaha, and did so again in 2011 when he went to Ducati, and then again when he went back to Yamaha. In other words, until he sacked Jeremy Burgess, he took a lot of his crew with him when he jumped from team to team. SRT have said that's not going to happen if he joins that camp. He said, and I quote, "It's important for us to have some stability, and it's important for us to keep working with the rider we already have in Frankie. He's young, he's the future of the team, and we have to put a lot of emphasis on him. We don't want Valentino to come and disrupt our structure either, though, to come lock, stock and barrel from the factory team. We can only allow him to come with 1 or 2 guys. He'll have to work with the rest of our structure beyond that. That's what we want, but again, we haven't even started speaking to him yet." So you could see and you could tell that, this is a whole big bowl of what-ifs regarding that Yamaha camp. And whether SRT want to break their philosophy to sign a more experienced rider, at least as a stopgap for a year, and what that structure would mean if they brought in Valentino. It's a lot of very interesting stuff. I think he'll still end up going there eventually. I think they'll make the first move and eventually sign him. But I actually am quite eager to see what they end up doing over there at Yamaha, and what SRT Petronas will do alongside them. But let me know what you guys think of some of these spicy rumours. Me personally, I think Ducati will be fools to let Dovi go, but if their relationship is untenable, then they're going to have to let him go. And it's a no-brainer. Just bring in Jack Miller, as far as I'm concerned. They're not going to get a better rider than him in this open market, as far as I'm concerned. As for SRT, if you get a year of Valentino and sell some merchandise, why not? As a one-off for a year, and then reassess when you can actually watch these guys ride a bike again. That could be very interesting. But again, would love to hear you guys' perspective on this below in the comments. Again, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I would love to hear your thoughts as ever. And yeah, I'll be back with you guys later in the week to discuss some future plans and talking about The Last Dance. Catch you guys soon. Sayonara.